at this point, we have a situation in which Donald Trump is clearly publicly extremely unhappy about Vladimir Putin, and he says that he'll be having a very large statement on Monday. Perhaps it could be about sanctions, it could be about something else.
Yeah.
But we again can end up having a situation in which Donald Trump says that he gives Putin another 2 weeks.
Speaking of the US president, he's confirmed that America will resume weapons deliveries to Ukraine, including US Patriot air defense systems, albeit via NATO, it would seem. He's also condemned Russian President Putin, saying Russia is targeting life itself in Ukraine. He's warned that he will be seeing things happen soon. He's also teased a major announcement on Russia coming on Monday. Illia Ponomarenko is a journalist specialising in the defence of Ukraine. Good morning, Illia.
Hello.
The analysis of this is that Trump has changed tone, perhaps once again, in terms of his view of Putin and his support for Ukraine. The Patriot air defense system will be a welcome boost.
Oh yeah, more than welcome boost, especially given the fact that Russia is absolutely taking a very good use of this lack of comprehensive policy, this absolutely barely understandable first for Donald Trump for appeasement of Putin, for pleasing his wants and needs, and they are ramping up aerial attacks, bombardments, terror attacks on Ukraine. So in this situation, in this war, air defense has always been the most critical supply that Ukraine will always be in a critical need. But right now, it's becoming something that could be described as desperate, I would say, given the amount of victims of destruction every day. And it goes far beyond simply Patriot missiles. Today's worst problem right now, every single night in Ukraine, all around Ukraine, not only major cities or the capital city Kiev, is the swarms of killer drones, Shaheds, hundreds of them at this point. This is the result of all the time wasted with all this attempts to amuse and please Putin into some sort of an armistice, unfortunately.
There is an additional part of this, which is perhaps that President Zelensky is, while still dealing with an administration that is kind of slightly sceptical about helping Kyiv and helping Ukraine's war effort, but is it fair to say that the Ukrainian president is actually more successful at managing Trump now, after that now notorious confrontation a couple of months ago, that he is beginning to sort of dislodge, if you like, Trump's attitude?
Well, most of Ukrainians think so. We had a recent poll saying that 60% of Ukrainians think that Zelensky is doing his best in this whole situation with Trump, with international support of Ukraine. So I think Ukrainians who live in Ukraine and see what's happening in front of their eyes, they say that Zelensky is doing pretty okay in terms of managing Trump and standing for what Ukraine needs, no matter all the humiliation, I would say, that he has to go through. A very large problem in this is in so many layers, starting from international partnerships, starting from international cooperation with the United States, particularly in terms of helping Ukraine's war efforts, is the lack of understanding, lack of certain rules to navigate this water. I mean, at this point, we have a situation in which Donald Trump is clearly publicly extremely unhappy about Vladimir Putin, and he says that he'll be having a very large statement on Monday. Perhaps it could be about sanctions, it could be about something else.
Yeah.
But we again can end up having a situation in which Donald Trump says that he gives Putin another 2 weeks, after which he changes his mind again, and we have a situation in which they talk to each other on the phone, and they withhold Ukraine's weapon supplies.
Yeah.
Once again.
Yeah, Ilya, it's a terrifying prospect, isn't it? The changing mind of President Trump. Let's see what Monday brings. That's Illia Ponomarenko reporting.